fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
As always, the Ramble is sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and you want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Thank you for John and the team for their continued support for the Ramble. And today's Ramble is also sponsored by V&B Auto Centres at Handsworth. They're still offering that fantastic deal of 50% off your next MOT when you let them know you're a Rambler. And thank you again to Aaron and the team for their support also. What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I'm, of course, Jimmy, and this is hot off the presser. A very quick press conference this morning. Obviously, it's a little bit, I mean, you never want to look past anybody, but it's a little bit of a placeholder, this game for Sheffield United. The last chance for us to dust off the cobwebs. Will he go strong? Will he not go strong? Interesting. So, again, we'll get through it as quickly as we can. As normally, it's a good can you see that? It's a good 3 pages at least of notes. It's the only show I take notes for. And my hand is on fire usually, but got through them all okay today, I think. So, Andy Giddins from Radio Sheffield was the main interviewer today. No Danny Hall. We had a lad called Lewis joining at the end, who I think might have been a student. But Gids starts us off asking about injuries. How is the squad? Is everybody fit and firing? Any news updates on the squad health and fitness, if you like? He said there's only Ben Broughton Diaz missing with a virus for this game. It's not an injury, which is a shame because it's his former club, obviously, Blackburn. And I think he would have been a heavy favourite to start this game, particularly if we lean into resting Gus. That's just my opinion, obviously. That's not what Wilder's been saying. He says, so BBD misses out with a virus. It's not an injury. He will be back for the playoffs. He's getting back to where he needs to be, he said. But he's not trained this week. Andy then asked about Tom Davies because he kept, obviously, Wilder kept updating us about Tom Davies and how he was looking in terms of the injury. He said Tom Davies will be involved in the group and he will get minutes tomorrow afternoon, which is interesting. So and good to hear, to be honest. So Tom Davies will be back involved in the squad and will make an appearance, whether that's from the start or off the bench. So that's really good. Gids then asked, how's the mood in the camp? How is everybody with the playoffs just around the corner? And he repeated something that I heard him say the other day, which was that we couldn't wish for them to be in a better place. The mentality and the energy levels, the players have reset and they're focused. It's important for us as a club to get into the 90s. A 2-point average per game represents the season we've had. There's been incredible challenges right the way through the season. Most supporters will understand that. Some don't want to acknowledge it, and I understand that, he said, which I thought were an interesting comment. Football people get it. People inside the industry understand what we've had to go through. 2 games. We've got 2 games coming up that are really. The recent 2 games were really important. I think he means to get back to winning ways. At Stoke, the supporters were better than the performance, and I'm not quite sure why. He said I'll have to admit, there was a bit of trepidation going into the game, but the support was incredible, and the players spoke about that. There's going to be over 31,000, around 31, 32,000 tickets sold for the game against Blackburn tomorrow, and I want us to finish on a high. We need to get minutes into some of the players, but we understand that we want to finish really well. Gids asked about the opposition having something to play for. Is it good that Stoke still weren't safe at the time of the game and still aren't now, to be honest? The time we played them, and Blackburn still have something to play for as well. So it makes sure it's not a non-contest. And Wilder says it's never a non-contest. You look back at the Stoke game for us, obviously Stoke had something to play for. We didn't necessarily, if you're using that sort of mindset. But there were big challenges flying in last weekend from us. The boys gave everything. Sheffield United this year against Sheffield United last year are 2 completely different things. The supporters recognise we've got it back, and that's what I want as manager. We've not always been great. There's not always been 9 out of 10 performances every week, but you're never going to get that across a season. but 90 plus points is incredible. So he can still say 90 plus points, because I think, are we on 89 currently, according to the league table? I may be wrong on that, but I think we're on 89. So he's achieved on the pitch, because of the -2. He's got into the 90s. It's incredible. He says the excitement in the group. There's excitement in the group and excitement about what they can achieve. We could have, looking back at the week that we talked about, that we sort of look back and say that was the week it all went wrong. Turns out we could have won two out of those 3 games, and it still might not have been enough. We'll never know, he says, but to do what we've done this season is still an incredible achievement. Kid says, is it a little bit, what are your thoughts really on the points for the automatic places? They seem to be getting higher and higher every year. He says exactly right. It just shows that the way the division's going, unfortunately. Leeds last season got to 90 points. The size of that club and the resources they had, they dropped into the playoffs and couldn't do it, because winning promotion from this league is really tough. The team that got us up in 18 and 19, he says, I was thinking about this. The team that got us up in 2018, 2019 were put together in the summer of 2016, the core of it. The team that should have got us back up to the Premier League after we were relegated in the COVID season, we needed to keep some key men and replace and reinvest if we couldn't keep hold of them, and obviously sprinkle that with loans. But that team was established too. This team was put together 4 to 5 weeks ahead of the season. We've also had a change in style, and I think that goes underrepresented sometimes, he says. We could end up with 2 wins off 100 points. I can't beat the boys up because of that. And he's right, isn't he? He's right. Gid says, we'll come on to Blackburn in a second, but just to touch on Gus Harmer, it's been a trophy-laden week for him. He obviously won the EFL Player of the Season trophy. He also got the Sheffield United Player of the Year award. Chris said, you need your water carriers, but you also need big moments. That can be any part of the pitch. We've had big moments from goalkeepers, big moments from midfielders. Gus has got those big moments in him. I know it's been talked about, the award that he got, but he's been a massive player for us this season, and he's going to be a massive player over the next 2 to 3 weeks. What about Blackburn then, says Gids, and the recent upturn in form? They seem to be falling away, and now they're back again. He says, well, they got themselves into that position because they've got good players. Then they had a change in manager, and now it looks like Valerian's, being Valerian Ismail, is now starting to put his fingerprints on it. There's only really them and Millwall that haven't stuttered recently, he says, over this last period. But we're at home. We're confident we can beat anybody in this division. They need to win it, but we're going all out, full tilt. There's places up for grabs to be played for in the playoffs. The supporters we want to reward for their fantastic support home and away. The attitude needs to stay consistent. And then he went to a question from Lewis, who I believe is a student. Apologies if you're not Lewis, but he just asked about the mindset of the players in terms of achieving so many points, but then just falling away just before the playoffs. And Chris says it gives us confidence. We're the 3rd best team in the division. We're confident that we can play any team and get a result, but they'll feel the same way, that they can come to Bramall Lane and get something. We need to attack the playoffs with the energy and desire the players are currently showing. Everyone has the strengths and weaknesses, which we understand. We'll focus fully on Saturday, but then we'll go into the playoffs and attack them with the energy and desire that we need, and we've been showing recently. So that was it. That was the very brief Chris Wilder press conference this morning. I'm normally 20 minutes talking through it. It's less than 10. So all business, no, we trimmed all the fat this morning, no sort of jokes and joviality, which he sometimes has in his press conferences. All business. Let's get this game done. Let's get it out of the way. Let's have a positive performance, get minutes into the legs. The one thing that we will have after this game is clarity. We will know how the players are playing. We will have an idea, hopefully, of who will be making this playoff side. Because hopefully, and again, I'm still not sure that we could name Wilder's favoured team, but I think a lot of the fans could now name their favoured team. There wouldn't be too many dissimilarities, I don't think. But the real clarity we'll have is who we're playing in the playoffs and getting geared up for it. And that will obviously feed into, we'll have all the news on the channel and we'll be getting, building up to the playoff games. But it's going to be huge now. And it's a quick turnaround as well. We're there on Thursday, wherever it is that we're going, whether it be Coventry, Bristol, Millwall, Blackburn, because we could play Blackburn 3 times over there. They could be our next 3 games. If Blackburn get in, then that could be our next 3 games set up. So really interesting now. And obviously we'll be talking all about it on 90 After 90 this week. We'll be there straight after the game. I think we've got it scheduled in for about 4 o'clock, 90 After 90, because I'm going to be at the game. So we'll wait and see. I'm going to get into some of your comments now. Matt says, morning, Jimmy. Last game till the fun begins. I don't know if it's fun, pal. Once again, loved the battle lines last night. So good and funny. You and Connor gel so good. Up the Ramble and up the Blades. Thank you, pal. We've been talking about what we're going to do with battle lines next season. There's talk of maybe sharing it across all 3 platforms and keeping it in some capacity. There's there's talk of maybe a different show altogether that we can all do across 3 platforms. Loads of different ideas, but we will be doing content again next year. No matter which division Sheffield United are in. Good morning, Jimmy. Come on, who do you want in the playoffs? Up the Blades, Ramble. I think it sounds disrespectful to name a team that you want, because I could say Coventry, for example, because we played so well against Coventry recently. So we know that we could be confident going into that game. However, if the best Coventry turn up, if the Coventry turn up that won 10 in 12, we were dreading that game. If you remember, we were absolutely dreading that game because they were on fire. Lampard had them fit and firing. They've got some really strong players, as have everybody in the playoff mix. But Ben Sheaf's now back in the side. Haji Wright is always a problem. Mason Clark, I think, is a good player. There's loads of, if Bobby Thomas is back, I don't like the look of that. So I don't want to say Coventry, for example, and then, because they could turn us over. Any team can turn us over. What I'll tell you is that I don't want to play Millwall. And that could happen. We could end up playing Millwall. I just don't fancy playing Millwall. I think they're all wrong for us. I think they roughed us up last time. They outsmarted us in terms of tactics. I don't think Wilder will get caught out twice. But they did a job on us last time. So I don't want to play Millwall. But I also don't want to say, let's have Coventry, let's have Middlesbrough, or let's have Bristol City, or whatever, because they can all do a job on us, pal, to be fair. So, come on, Blades, says Chris. Up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Morning, Jimmy. Good morning, pal. Hope you're well. Would you rest Cooper for this one, says Danny? Nope. Imagine him getting a knock and being out for the playoffs. I'd rest Hamer, Cooper, Campbell, and Peck. I'm only resting Gus Hamer this game, me personally. That's the way I'm going this game. Dave the Nose has picked his team. We went through that on the warm-up, or that's on the channel as a short if you want to have a look at Dave's team. View from the Mountain. Paul names his team as well if you want to catch that. I agree with Dave's team. I'm going with Dave's team, and Paul's is very similar, to be fair. So I think you just rest Gus for this one. I think you've got to start getting the wheels in motion. I'm not saying you don't manage the minutes. Siddy Peck can come off at an hour. Tyrese Campbell can come off after an hour. Gus is the only one I'm wrapping in cotton wool for this one. In terms of Mike Cooper, there's a chance he can get a knock in training. There's a chance he could get a knock in first game at playoffs anyway. So I'm not resting Cooper. Scott says, morning, Jimbo. Looking forward to meeting you face-to-face on Sunday. Let's get a final 3 points before we head into the playoffs. I think Gus will get a cameo, but won't start. Great to see Davis back. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, mate. Yes, looking forward to meeting you too. Finally, long overdue. We've got a busy weekend ahead, haven't we? So we've got, obviously, the Blackburn game on Tomorrow, and then 90 after 90 after that. Then for those of us that are going to the Bash, we'll be there. We'll be looking for tomorrow. We'll be looking for Lee Winter, who will have a stall up in the fan zone regarding the atmosphere at the lane. He's trying to do all he can to start a movement in terms of getting the atmosphere up and running again. So anybody that wants to go and support Lee Winter, please go and see him in the fan zone tomorrow that's interested in that. He's calling it an ultra movement. We're trying to sway him away from that a little bit because I think that's got negative connotations. What he wants is people like the Leon fans that came to the lane the other day. So he's going to be there. Marty Great has got a stall up on Sunday. Go and support Marty before the Bash Bash. He's going to be outside the Cricketers, I believe, with a stall. And he's going to have a load of his brilliant artwork for sale there if you want to go and get some of that. So, yeah, we're at the Bash Bash, and then we're at the Player of the Year do on the evening. So, looking all posh and what have you. So, really looking forward to a really busy weekend. Tom says, morning, Jim Bob. Hoping that Saturday can fill me with a bit of confidence going into the next week. Not getting too ahead of myself yet. It's the hope that kills you. Andy the Blade used to say that to me all the time. Brewster and Davies to score, says Matthew. Wow. If you're confident in that, it might be worth a 50p on at the bookies because those won't be high odds. Those won't be low odds, I mean. Good luck, Blades. Really hope you keep the guys out of the playoffs. The Blackburn guys up the claret, says Tony. Ricky from Just United says, morning, Jim. Rest Hamer and Burrows. Start Cannon and Campbell. Interesting. Scott says he won't let that -2 points go, will he? No, he won't, Scott. He never does. I'm just glad it didn't cost us the autos. I agree, though. Great achievement this season, but we're not done yet. We're not done yet, mate. We are not done yet. Jack says, morning, Jimmy. Happy to be a Platinum Rambler. Great people and community. Recommend it to everyone. Thank you, Jack. I really appreciate that, pal. We started a little fun competition yesterday where we've got 2 teams split now. One led by Mr. Vancouver, who is the head of Team Blades Ramble. One led by Ramble royalty, Nick Cook. He's team behind the Ramble. They've assembled their own Avengers, if you like, on a mission to who can get to the next milestone next. It's Blades Ramble versus Behind the Ramble. Behind the Ramble going for 2,000 subs. Blades Ramble going for 8,000 subs. Who will win? You decide. Ray says, morning, Jimmy. And thank you, Jack. I appreciate your support, pal. Morning, Jimmy, everyone. The lads need our support more than ever now. Hopefully the fans give the players the encouragement to kick on into the playoffs and hopefully succeed. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Like and subscribe. Thank you, mate. Bob says, Jim Bob, it's ironic our Achilles heel has been Millier. Yours has been Robinson. Bizarre that 2 experienced managers couldn't see it. Keep the faith. You'll romp the playoffs. I know. Hopefully we're over that. I'm not saying he won't play. I think there's a chance. Well, I'm quite hopeful there's a chance that Robinson and Holding play, and then Holding after 60, 70 minutes is replaced by an L as we save his legs for the playoffs so that it's a L and Holding for the playoffs. Don't know about romping and Bob, but we shall see, pal. Chris says, morning, Jim. Led a comfortable 3-0 win. Keep Robbo out and Holding in, and we win the playoffs. Keep Robbo in, and then it's anybody's game. Train says, good luck with the playoffs. We need a Yorkshire derby in the Prem. Up the Ramble, all leads, aren't we? No, we're not, but thank you, Trains. Very much appreciated, pal. I might be talking nonsense, but I don't fear anyone. We can do it. Yes, we can. Ray, I love the turnaround in your mindset, pal. And it were always going to happen with a lot of us, weren't it? The negativity of initially falling short and then bringing it back round again to positivity. Love it. Jimmy, you're talking like you won't be going up. You need to think positive, fella. Battle lines next year. The trio continues. Thing is, I don't want to commit either way. I was being asked last night on Battle Lines, what do I think it'll mean if Sheffield United are in Championship? What do I think it'll mean if we're in Prem? How do you think we'll do? You can't comment on it yet because I'm jinxing us either way, I think. I've blanked out of my mind what next season will mean. We've done a video already on worst case scenario. So when everybody was really low, Mark Meldrew, looking at you, pal, when everybody was really low after we missed out and we knew it were going to be playoffs, there were a lot of people really negative about the place. So we did a video based on what would we do if we had to rebuild, we lost 3 of our best players, and we could only bring in free transfers. I still think we'd be really competitive, and that's absolute worst case scenario. But other than that, we've boxed it off for now, and it'll be full steam ahead concentrating on the playoffs after tomorrow. So we'll be up for this. Don't you worry. Claire Bulgarian Blade says, hey up, Jimmy lad. Really looking forward to this weekend. It's been a fabulous season and the excitement, nerves, it's not over yet. See you and the rest of the Blades Ramble team in Triple Point. You certainly will, Claire. We will be in both Triple Point and Selena before the game. So anybody that wants to come and join us, we'll see you in one of those two places, to our two pre-match bars. Thank you to our sponsors for their continued support of the Ramble. Morning Rambler, says Avril. Hope we all enjoyed the weather this week. It's been great, hasn't it? Been really nice this week. Last 2 days particularly. We all need to keep our heads and keep up the amazing support we have. Give the Shraw all the season for this last push. We've got this. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Apologies, Avril. It's very early for me. Kelv says, I'm rooting for you and Sheffield United. At least when Lee's shirt goes on, it will give you a sprinkle of magic dust. Oh, Kelv. I'm not looking forward to that, I have to say. Ray says maybe Cov peaked and they're now falling away. They looked poor last time out. I think a lot of the playoff sides have looked poor recently. I also think that they can spark again. When you've got good players like all the teams around us have, you can spark back into action at any time, can't you? Look at Blackburn, for example. They looked like they'd fallen away. All of a sudden, I think it's 4 wins on the spin. So you can't rely on form, particularly in the playoffs. Obviously, it helps, but particularly in the playoffs, the knockout competition, anybody can beat anybody. So that's why I'm not super confident, but I'm not underconfident, if that makes sense. I would back us to beat anybody, but it still doesn't mean I'm not going to be nervous going into games. Chris says, hope we beat Coventry and get revenge on Bassett's antics at Coventry when we play down there. I think we could play Coventry, you know. I think that might be the way it works. I think the table might stay as it is at the top end. I think Bristol City will finish 5th, and I think Coventry may beat Middlesbrough tomorrow. We'll see, though. Brett, it's going to be a great day, whatever happens. Championship is fantastic. Brett says, no point looking at our best 11 as it depends on who we play and their strengths and weaknesses. Need pace or height up front in defence. Only really Gus and Cooper that definitely start in the playoffs. I disagree, Brett. I disagree. I think we will play our team rather than play a team to suit the opposition. I think we will go with what we think is our best 11. But I understand that next season, that's more of the mentality, I think. If you've got a more varied squad, I know we've got a varied squad at this level, but I think because of the importance of the games, we don't have to worry about the other team's strengths and weaknesses. I think we have to worry about how we can hurt them. Bryce says, I think after tomorrow's game, forget the season that's just been and understand that we're entering a lottery, possibly 3 cup finals, and deal with them as such. Absolutely right, Bry. Lee, the Wakey Blade, up the Wakey Blades. Morning, Jim Bob. Great content as always. Would love to join you chaps at Triple Point, but I'm heading to Lee Winter. You do right, pal. Absolutely right. We'll get down for the playoffs. We'll try and get down for the playoffs. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Yeah, you show Lee is some support, mate. We're all up for backing Lee and getting the atmosphere up at the lane. No danger with that at all. Joel says, I feel like the playoffs could be won by anyone this year. All the best. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate that, pal. Will says, is it bad I'm starting to get a bit excited for the playoffs? Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah, it is. That's life of being a Blade. They lure you in and then squash you like a bug. Sorry, mate. It's just, we should be used to it now, shouldn't we? Do we risk overplaying Peck again? Maybe he's one that you can look at, Rick. I think that's a fair argument to say. I would certainly not have him playing 90 minutes, but I don't think he will play 90 minutes tomorrow. I keep saying today. So, yeah, you can make an argument for everybody, though, I think, really. We'll see. We'll see what he wants to do. Because the other thing is, I think he might be the one that Tom Davies comes on for. The other thing you could do is play Chowdhury in midfield, but then you're playing a different right back, aren't you? So it'd be interesting. Tony says, Burnley are going for a clean sheet record outright and the 100 points, so you won't get Mill. Yeah, to be honest, I think it's a really one of the many really interesting games tomorrow, that. Because Millwall can upset anybody. They've already beaten both us, Burnley and Leeds this season already. Really a horrible team to play against. But Burnley have got everything to play for as well. They're playing for the title still. So I think anything could happen in that game. Donna says, 2 up front for me for the playoffs. Holding and Alfie must start for me. Here we go, up the Blades. I'd love to see Alfie more involved. I just can't see it due to his lack of game time. Morning, Will, Jimmy, and fellow Blades, by the way. Morning, pal. Brett says, Get that new merch bought, people. Good quality, and get to feel like Man Mountain for a day, being followed by all the housewives up the blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. I'm not sure how much we've talked about it on the main. Oh yeah, we did, because 3 Mardy Blades were on main channel, weren't it? Rather than Patreon like it usually is. Might be a change coming in the new season for that. Keep It Ramble for a new schedule, which I'm very excited about. Man Mountain has released some new Blades Ramble merch that he has designed himself. Check it out on Amazon at Blades Ramble. Just type in Blades Ramble. The new merch will come up. That United off the pitch looks really a lot better than I thought it would, to be honest. Red hoodie that Brett's got looks class. Morning, Bri. How are you? Says Will, as they are having a private conversation in the chat. That's lovely. Okay, mate. Hope you're well too. Yeah, great. Mark Meldrew says, good morning, Jimmy and fellow Blades. Hope we're all well. Season ticket 25-26 sorted. Good man. Good man. Time to gear up for the first leg now. Full of confidence. Hopefully starting with a win tomorrow. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up the Meldrew, up the Meldrew. Yeah, we'll get you a name. Don't worry, mate. Scott says, with BBD out, it throws a spanner in the works squad-wise for me. I think Wilder may go Cooper, Gilchrist, Holding, Robbo, Burrows. I think he might go Sariki instead of Gilchrist. Sousa and Peck, Raksaki, O'Hare, Brooks, and Campbell. Yes, possibly, mate. Possibly. Or maybe McCallum on the left wing. Maybe just to get him playing. Any news on Tom Davies? Says Matt. Yeah, he's going to be involved tomorrow. He's going to be involved tomorrow. Agreed, Brett. Bought two of the new Ramble merch on Amazon, and it's great. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. Tom Davies is available. Matt says Mark Meldrew. Thank you, pal. Morning, Scott. I'm going to need a bank holiday. Right, okay. Personal chats I'm going to try and avoid reading out. It's lovely that you're all mates. But latest odds, says Bob, is Blades 15-8 faves, Sunderland 5-2, Bristol City 11-2, Coventry 6-1, Borough 16-1, Blackburn 25-1, and Millwall 40-1. The bookies are rarely wrong. Yes, Bob, but that's because 5th and 6th have yet to be decided. So the odds will change dramatically from that. I'm sure we'll still be favourites, but the odds will change dramatically once we know who 5th and 6th are. Ricky says, I'm just happy either way we win. I'm happy either way we win the playoffs. Great, more income, but then the misery of the Prem football we lose. We have another year winning in the champ. It's going to be a tough year next year. Look at Birmingham, who I think will be strong contenders for the league. Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton coming down. So that's 4 big sides added to the league after we're losing 2 big sides out of it, at least. So, interesting. Bryce says, I'll be helping my mate this weekend, Will, with his waltzer, but keeping one eye on the footy. Riff says, worst case scenario, we match Preston with 9 failures and go into the record books. They finally won their 10th. This will be our 9th. Recently, we've been pushing for worse records only to not get bottom. Yeah. Ed says, don't worry, Jim Bob, you'll beat the crap that are in the playoffs. Bristol City are closer to relegation than they are to you. Up the Ramble, marching on together. White Rose Army. Joe says, Jimmy actually said Gus Harmer instead of Hamer. Wow, I know I did. And I shuddered when I said it, to be honest. I've still not settled on which one we have to say, but I'm going Gus Hamer. I'm Gus Hamer's. That's the way I say it. That's me saying we'll win it on our 9th because we won't get the worst record despite looking like we will. I hope you're right, pal. Us mods stick together, Jimmy says, Bri. And Ricky is our final comment today, saying, I don't get what Alfie did so wrong to be dropped like he did. Granted, he had a couple of bad games and took a knock, but majority of first half of the season, he was solid. Deserves to be playing. I think so too. I'd like to see him playing alongside Rob Holding. I think he's our best right back. I mean, Hamza's played very well there as well, to be honest. So you could argue Hamza's now made a case for that. But, we shall see. So I want to say thank you to everybody for joining me. A quicker one than usual today. Hang on. My missus still won't let me leave or holiday early to go to Wembley. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Oh, mate, I'm sorry about that. Up the Blades, Ramble, says Matthew. Thank you, pal. Thank you to everyone that's joined us today. Keep it Ramble. We've got some really interesting content coming. We can't publish it yet because we don't know who we're going to be playing, but obviously it's going to be a really busy time coming up over the next week or so. We'll be back tomorrow after the game, around 4 o'clock. I think we've scheduled it in for 90 after 90, when we will know who we're playing in the playoffs. So keep it Ramble. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the blade!